now call this January 26, 2015 Open Student Senate meeting to order. Secretary Federini, please call the roll.
Catherine Thompson. Here. Steph Long.
Here.
Anthony Wagner.
Here.
Amelia Smith.
Here.
Annabelle Walklinger.
Here.
Christy Antonello.
Here.
Steph Buck.
Here.
Kelly McGrath. Ben Richardson. Ashley Sloboda. Ryan Williams. Frank Arrigo.
Here.
Taylor Burry.
Here.
Stephanie Holt.
Here.
Aaron Beecham.
Here.
Eric Miller.
Here.
Jackie Turret.
Here.
Lauren Perry.
Here.
Taylor Beck. Kevin Galecki.
Here.
Aiden Eglin.
Here.
Brooke Beechick.
Here.
Kat Crone.
Here.
Nika Volpatis.
Here.
Maya Thomas.
Here.
Kylie Davis.
Here.
Jeff Deco.
Here.
Brianna Egan.
Here.
Caitlin Homestead.
Here.
Michael Mancino.
Here.
Maxine Peskins. Non Pham.
Here.
26 PCG.
Here.
Active Mind.
Here.
ACM.
Here.
Allies.
Here.
APF.
Here.
Asian Student Alliance.
Here.
Autism Speaks.
Here.
AAUW Club.
Here.
Biosphere.
Here.
ESU.
Here.
Cheers.
Here.
China Culture Club.
Here.
Circolo Italiano.
Here.
Civil War Club.
Here.
Class of 2015.
Here.
2016.
Here.
2017. 2018.
Here.
Classics Club.
Here.
College Democrats.
Here.
College Republicans.
Here.
Colleges Against Cancer.
Here.
Cooking Club.
Here.
Dance Ensemble.
Here.
DCI.
Here.
DTO. Film Society.
Here.
Forest Chorus.
Here.
Free to Slaves. Free Thinker Society. Game Club.
Here.
GASA. Gay Group TV.
Here.
GECCO.
Here.
German Club.
Here.
Gays Group Student Theater.
Here.
Gospel Choir.
Here.
Pageant Humanity.
Here.
Interfaith Council.
Here.
International Affairs.
Here.
International Club.
Here.
Jam Club. Japan Club. Jazz Appreciation Society.
Here.
LASA.
Here.
Law and Justice Society. Lutheran Student Movement. Mock Trial.
Here.
Operation Smile. Alan Nightingale.
Here.
Photography Club.
Here.
Free Health Club.
Here.
Free Vet Club.
Here.
Rotaract. Sanga. SASA.
Here.
Shots in the Dark.
Here.
Ski Snowboarding Club.
Here.
Skeptical Chemists.
Here.
Society of Physics Students. STEM.
Here.
Student Alumni. Students for Life.
Here.
Upscale.
Here.
Young Americans for Liberty. Zoologic Club.
Here.
Motion to approve the minutes from the previous.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so last semester's final meeting, those are the minutes that we just approved. So welcome back, everyone. Hope you guys had a great winter break and have been settling back in nicely. We're excited for a great spring semester, for it to start feeling like spring. I just have a couple announcements. I'm in the process of sending out invitations for people to come speak. And this semester I was thinking it'd be fun if we invited some people that we haven't heard from before, so such as like the Center for Global Education and Office of Student Activities, so departments that have resources that we may just not be knowing about. So if you guys work for any campus offices that you think could be valuable for the Student Senate to hear from, please let me know. I'll be planning a spring retreat for senators and the board of directors as well as exec board to go over some Robert's Rules of Order and welcome back our senators from abroad. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It'll be early February, so it won't really be a spring retreat, but it'll be a good way to freshen up our voting. And finally, I'm in communication with Andrew Barclay, and we're going to have a career night for Student Senate. So we'll go over how to phrase your experience with the Senate on LinkedIn profiles, how to make those, take some LinkedIn pictures, things like that. So even if you are a first year, it's never too early to start working on that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Okay, Steph?
Welcome back, everyone. I don't have any official announcements, but I do want to welcome Erin and Taylor and Lauren and Frank back from abroad. So it's great to have you guys with us. And that's all I have.
I do have a number of announcements. I want to give you an update of our budget figures. This is as of the end of December. And last semester we spent $36,443.59. $662.09, which means that for this semester, as of then, we have $74,133.41 left to spend. So we're in very good shape. We're actually in better shape than we were this time last year. So we're looking forward to all the clubs that are going to be coming forward to us. Speaking of which, all the spaces open for the preliminary budget hearings are filled, which means that we have a full slate Tuesday and Wednesday. That means that any clubs that still need their budget approved, you're going to have to sign up for regular meeting dates, which will be every Tuesday at 4:30 in Cub 251. If for some reason you didn't know about the preliminary hearings and you want your $100 base budget, I know a number of you probably do, talk to me. If it's a valid excuse, we will go ahead and give you the base budget, but otherwise, all those times are full. At the end of the meeting, could the representatives from AA, UW, Bullet Ski Snowboard Club, and Students for Life please come up and talk to me?
Great, thank you, Anthony.
Okay, so I do have announcements. First of all, if I didn't call your name during roll, or if I called your name and you weren't here at the time, just come see me afterwards as always. Also, like we said last semester, we are in the process of making new aliases. As much as I love getting emails, and I know Catherine loves it too, from Ghost of Gettysburg Senate, who graduated many years ago, complaining about the emails. We're going to change and make a new alias. So I'm passing around 2 sheets. If you're a club rep, please put your name, club, and your email. So that way I can start making an alias. And I'm going to send out 2 pens, and I better get them back, because I like them. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back everyone. I hope you all had lovely winter breaks. My committee is going to be meeting this week where I have a doodle out to figure out a date, but we're going to be completing the wording on the potential amendments that we all talked about last semester. And if you're interested in being a part of that process, feel free to email me. You can get my email in the minutes. That's all I have.
Thank you. Last but not least.
Welcome back everyone. I'm so excited to see everybody here. First of all, club registration will be due January 30th if you have a change in leadership. So I'll be sending out that link later tonight, as well as the weekly surveys link. Those looked great last semester, so keep up the great work. I'm looking forward to the event that we're planning in April regarding the weekly surveys and all the awards. And that's everything.
Great, thank you. Being that there's no old business from last semester, we're going to move right into our new business. We're very excited to have President Riggs here to give us a little recap on how things are going. Yes.
Like that if I walked into the faculty meeting, everybody would applaud it. That would be like all of your officers, I'd like to welcome you back for the spring semester. And finally, it's starting to snow really hard out there, so maybe we're finally going to get some of the storm. I don't know how many of you like snow at Gettysburg, but I happen to like it, so I'm hoping to get a little bit. I'm not really going to give you so much of an update tonight, but I'm going to, do you want me to like click through these slides, or do you have
Yeah,
a,
we don't have a little remote. Which
Okay,
I
I'll
thought
just-
we would. So I
I'll
can
kinda-
just.
yeah, leave it there for a minute, that's good. What I want to do tonight is give you a little context for Gettysburg College and higher education in general, which is probably not something you all spend a lot of your waking hours thinking about, but of course it's something that I spend a lot of my waking hours thinking about. There are a lot of interesting things going on in the environment. It's a very dynamic environment for higher education right now. And it's certainly a dynamic environment for liberal arts colleges in particular, and of course, I'm most interested in Gettysburg College, as probably you are. So the first thing I want to point out to you is that we are in a really small niche. You know, we think there's a lot of liberal arts colleges out there. There's about 250 of us in the country, but only 3% of college graduates graduate from a residential liberal arts college. 3%. So we're in this really tiny bubble. And of course, we think that the quality of what you get in this kind of setting is absolutely top-notch, absolutely superb. But the first point to remember is we're in a really small piece of the higher education market, right? The unfortunate thing is a lot of what goes on in the press sort of paints higher education with a really broad brush, like we're all the same. So look at some of the headlines you see around higher education right now, and I'm not even gonna go down the path of Title IX and sexual assault, that might be for another night. But these are the kinds of things that you see in the headlines. First of all, that higher education is too expensive. You all might actually agree with that. Gettysburg College is a very expensive place to attend college. There is no question about that. You don't have to convince me. There's a lot of talk about the fact that there's too much debt, right? The number that got thrown around about 6 months ago was $1 trillion in student debt, right? Which sounds absolutely overwhelming. And it is a concern, there's no question about it. At Gettysburg, I'm sure many of you are receiving some financial assistance, right? And I hope that you're in a position where when you graduate, you do not feel crippled by your student debt. You may have some obligations. But if you look at our student default rates, that is, the number of students who can't pay back their loans after they graduate, it's close to 0. And part of the reason is that most Gettysburg graduates, when they graduate, do get jobs or go on to graduate professional school. You will be part of a survey when you all graduate of our graduates. And if you don't respond to our survey, we're going to be out there trying to find you in LinkedIn, or we're going to try to find you some way to find out what you're doing. Are you working? And through our process, we find that about 95% of our alumni within a year of graduation are either working or are enrolled in graduate or professional school or some combination. There's like 4% of students who respond that they're still actively looking for a job within a year of the graduation. So we feel pretty good about that. We're not seeing high unemployment rates among our students and an inability to pay back crippling debt. That just doesn't describe the Gettysburg College graduate very well. There's a lot of talk about return on investment. Is college worth it, right? And you can look at this from a variety of perspectives, your own personal growth, your development of sort of a philosophy of life. But of course, the media is most focused on, is the investment you make paying for college worth it when you go out and get jobs? And again, we're finding that, first of all, overall, going to college is worth it. I mean, you look at any of the numbers, paychecks over time, and compared to high school graduates, not surprisingly, college graduates do really, really, really well. They quickly make up the money they've invested in college. And again, we find that is the case for Gettysburg students as well. In fact, there's a survey out there called PayScale that asks alums about what they make. And our graduates who respond to that, if we can infer anything from the rest of the graduates about them, we're doing pretty well relative to our peers in terms of the way our graduates are getting paid. And then there's a lot of this stuff out there about new business models and MOOCs, these massive open online courses. Maybe some of you have taken them. There was a lot of concern about that overtaking residential colleges. I always said, really, does the average 18-year-old want to take like 32 courses in their parents' basement on a screen and call that college? And of course, there are some who might want to do that, but certainly it's not the same experience you're getting in a setting like this, right? MOOCs are great. They offer tremendous service. They provide educational experiences for people who might not have access or who are working and want to get training in some particular area or just plain interest in a particular topic. It's a very different kind of experience. I think you'd all agree than what you're getting here at Gettysburg, this 24/7 engaging experience and so on. But anyway, we have to fight against these headlines. And these headlines really bother me because I think they are discouraging to high school graduates. I think there are more and more high school graduates who are wondering, should they go to college? And should they go to a liberal arts college in particular? There's a lot of talk about value. Is a liberal arts education valuable, right? Along with that is the fact that there are fewer high school graduates in the country than there were a few years ago. We've been on a downward trend in terms of number of high school graduates. And that's particularly true in areas where we recruit students from, like the Northeast. You can see there's been a pretty significant decline in the number of high school graduates out there. So it's kind of an interesting setting for us. I feel like we have to kind of really make the case for why students should go to college and why they should come to a college like Gettysburg. That's one way you can help, by the way. So let's see what's on the next slide. Okay, so I thought you might be interested in this. This is a graph of our applicant pool over the last several years. The number of students who apply to Gettysburg College. Okay. And what you see is that curve is sort of following the demographics of the country. That is, as the number of high school graduates has declined, our applicant pool has declined slightly. Not a huge amount, but slightly. That's something like, I look at that and I think, oh, that kind of gives me a little heartburn, worries me a little bit. That said, the good news is, this year, if we extended that to not yet, if we extend that to 2015, hot off the presses news, we had over 6,200 applicants for Gettysburg College for next year's first year class. So we've jumped from like 4,900 to 6,200 in 1 year. So clearly there is interest out there in Gettysburg College. That makes me feel good. I think that should make all of you feel good as well. Okay. Now, along with this, we can go to the next one. Jumping around here a little bit, but this is an interesting slide. This looks at the amount of financial aid we offer to our students, and we think we're going to be offering in the future. Let's talk about financial aid. Gettysburg College has had a really strong commitment over the last several years to be sure that students who want to come to Gettysburg and who are qualified to come to Gettysburg can come to Gettysburg even if they can't afford to pay the full rate, which is most students, let's face it, okay? And that is a strong commitment. We think that's an important commitment for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's just the right thing to do. I mean, it is just the right thing to do. But the other reason is that we are very interested in putting together a student body that has all kinds of characteristics, right? So we're interested in religious diversity. We're interested in racial, ethnic, international diversity. We're interested in diversity in gender expression and sexual orientation. We're interested in different political views. And we're interested in having students here from different socioeconomic backgrounds, right? And the reason for that, of course, is that it enriches the experience you're all having if you have the opportunity to interact on a daily basis with a variety of students from a variety of backgrounds. It makes this place a lot more interesting. And it better reflects the society in which you're all going to be living, the workplaces in which you're going to be working. We think it prepares you well. This is really an important part of your education experience. So we've had a strong commitment to financial aid. And what you see here is that this year, we extended $50 million in financial aid to the student body. $50 million. That is about, I think we were at 47 or something like that last year. So that's a big jump. And we start projecting that into the future. You can see 4 years from now, that'll probably be about $10 million more than where we are now. We'll probably be extending nearly $61 million in financial aid to our students. That's a significant commitment. It's one we feel strongly about. We feel good about it. But it's a big chunk of money, right? And this, by the way, is something that a lot of liberal arts colleges are trying to handle right now. You know, we're all doing the same kind of thing. We all want you to come and be on our campuses, and we're committed to that from a financial perspective. But the issue is, we keep spending a lot of money on financial aid. That's a decision we make to allocate resources in that direction. And that means we might have to reallocate some resources from one area towards that. Okay, so hold that thought a minute. Let's see what's on the next slide, Catherine. Oh, this is kind of different. All the slides may be the most boring. This great pie chart. The point of this slide is to show you that most of the money we have to spend comes from tuition. Okay? Or comprehensive tuition, which means, boy, so this big part of the pie chart is the money we collect from all of you that we have to spend. Those other little pieces also contribute to the money we have to spend. So we collect a little bit from our endowment, about 10% or 8%, sorry, of what we have to spend comes from our endowment. That's a big pot of money that sits there. We draw interest basically from it and spend it every year. And we keep raising money to try to increase that endowment. We get annual gifts from our alumni towards the Gettysburg Fund, the Orange and Blue Fund. That's about 4% of our budget. Auxiliary income and this other is sort of other things we do to raise money to try to support the Gettysburg College experience. So we run a lot of summer camps, for instance. And we make money off of it and direct that money towards your educational activity. But again, the point is that most of the money we have to spend comes from tuition and board. Okay. So, there's the situation we're in. That's the context I wanted to set. Two things. First of all, it's a competitive world out there in terms of attracting students, and we need to work hard at it. We need to keep making the case in the face of the media bashing we're kind of getting. We need to keep making the case for a liberal arts education. That's one point. And the second point is that money's a little tight. You know, as we continue to extend a lot of financial aid to students, that kind of means we have a little less money to spend. And so we're thinking about how to really carefully allocate the resources we have to be sure that we're providing you all with the best experience that you get. So when I talk about how we're responding to these things, I got 3 areas I want to talk about. One is the way we're recruiting students. The other is sort of the other ways we can raise money. And the third is maybe more of the centerpiece of all this, which is a process we're in called sustainable excellence. This is something I've been talking to the faculty about as well. So let's take these apart. In terms of student recruitment, we are recruiting like crazy, and that is why we have such a healthy applicant pool this year. We are recruiting all over the country and all over the world for Gettysburg students. In fact, we've been sending our admissions folks to China, to India, some different places for us. But we're also really trying to increase the diversity of, the domestic diversity of the student body from a geographic standpoint, right? So we're recruiting in California. We're not just a mid-Atlantic school anymore. Doing a lot of counselor visits. You may see these groups of college counselors wandering around on campus. There's nothing like getting counselors on campus who can see what this place is like, who can meet some of you, get a sense of the quality of the Gettysburg experience. And so many of them are really like, wow, I remember Gettysburg College 25 years ago. It wasn't anything like it is now. I mean, we've made big strides here. We're a better place. We're a higher quality place than we used to be. And so we want to be sure that counselors who are talking to students have a good sense of Gettysburg College today. Okay? We're out there talking a lot about our distinctive programs. Some of you engage very heavily in those. The conservatory, right? Very distinctive program. Our Civil War program is distinctive. Garthwaite Leadership Center, Center for Public Service. These are programs, Eisenhower Institute. Programs that a lot of schools don't have that we do have, and we do really well. So we want to be sure people know about those. And we've also been really talking a lot about value of the Gettysburg experience. What do students do with this experience when they leave? And again, we're trying to sort of combat that perception that a liberal arts education isn't good for much. People say, I hate that line. So what do you do with a major in psychology anyway? What do you do with a major in philosophy? My response is, anything you want. You do anything you want. I mean, I hope you all believe this, that a liberal arts background gives you a range of skills that are transferable, that you can take in so many different settings, right? You can write, you can solve problems, you can communicate effectively, you can look at really complex issues from a variety of disciplinary perspectives. So many of you have had international experience. Christy was just talking about her summer in Tanzania out here, amazing. And so you put that together and you take those skills and you go out and apply them. And you may experience 2, 3, 4 different careers over your lifetime, and you're going to take those skills and you're going to transfer across those careers with you. So we keep making the case for how a liberal arts background can prepare students even for careers in business. You can be a philosophy major and go on in business, or a history major, or a political science major. A lot of our students go on to careers in business with a strong liberal arts background. And we're talking a lot about the STEM disciplines, so our science, technology, math, health sciences, those kinds of disciplines as well, because we know there are a lot of students out there who have that interest. Okay? All right, so that's recruitment. You can help us with that. You can help us with student recruitment like nobody else can, because you can talk about what's happening to you now at Gettysburg College. So that's one way you can help. I'm going to come back to that, but keep that in mind. We really need your help in that area. Other revenue, other sources of revenue are really important and becoming more important at Gettysburg College. So we want to rely less on the tuition that we collect from you and more on other sources of revenue, frankly. Okay. So you may know we're in a campaign, a fundraising campaign. We set a goal of $150 million to raise for Gettysburg. We've raised about $86 million so far. How about that? Now, you want to show me the money, right? Where's the money? One of the interesting things about a campaign is a lot of that's pledged over time. So over a period of years, 5 years maybe, some of that money will be coming in. Some of it is in people's wills. I may never see some of that money in my lifetime here as president. But some of that is cash coming right in the door. And we're really, really pleased with the response of our alumni and some of our parents and other friends of the college to that. And I know some of you don't know what we're raising money for. So I'll go off on a quick tangent, tell you, be sure you know what we're raising money for, because that's important. One is Gettysburg Fund annual giving, and that's great. But the other 4 things are a little more topical. One is financial aid. Number 1 priority of this campaign is to raise money to support students who need financial assistance to come to Gettysburg. Absolutely, number 1, biggest priority. No question about it. Second thing is to support what we're calling engaged learning experiences. All those things that you do outside of the classroom and sometimes inside of the classroom that are very active, like doing research with a faculty member, or an internship or externship experience, or maybe being involved in a Center for Public Service immersion trip. These kinds of things that are really actively engaging you. Okay. Eisenhower Institute program, etc. Third thing we're raising money for is our faculty. We do need faculty. We're going to support our faculty by providing some new positions and professional development support for our faculty. And the 4th thing I've been getting some questions about. How many of you saw a sign on Plank in the fall that says something like Plank is going global? Yeah, okay. We are raising money to support a renovation of Plank into a global center in Gettysburg, where we put a lot of our global programming all under one roof. Not that all of our global programming would ever fit under one roof, but we see it as sort of a hub, as sort of a center. So we put the Center for Global Education in there, International Student Advising in there, Globalization Studies, Center for Public Service, a variety of programs together. We think that would create great synergy, along with some high-tech classrooms that will allow us to connect not only across the country with other locations, but around the world. So we're raising money for that as well. So fundraising is important to support the Gettysburg experience. We're all over that. We're also all over these alternative revenue opportunities in the summer to make some extra money to support the experience you get. How many of you have been here in the summer? You know there's a lot that goes on here in the summer. Those of you who don't spend time here in the summer might think Gettysburg campus is a quiet place. What is quieter? But there's a lot going on here. We have athletic camps, we have academic camps, we host conferences, we've got all kinds of things, and they're all to do 2 things. First is to provide us with some additional revenue, again, to support your experience. And the second thing is it enhances Gettysburg's visibility. So people come here and might not otherwise know about Gettysburg, and they go away thinking this is a pretty great place. That's all right. So let's move on to the next slide, Catherine. Sustainable excellence. What does that mean? And here it is. Here's the question that we're faced with. Okay. How do we sustain a truly superb overall educational experience on what is likely going to be a smaller resource base? So we're going to fundraise, we're going to do alternative revenue sources, but the other piece of this is we need to look carefully at the way we're allocating resources we already have. We at Gettysburg have been so good at adding things to do. We add academic programs, we add co-curricular opportunities, we add all kinds of things. In fact, one of the complaints that I get from faculty and students is there's too much here sometimes. There's just too much going on at the same time. Okay? We're really good at adding things. We're not so good at saying, you know, this thing has outlived its usefulness, let's just put it to bed. Okay? Or why don't we combine efforts and do one event instead of 6? Or So we're engaging in a process of thinking about how we use our current resources and whether or not we're using them as widely as we can. And here again, this is an area I think where you could help. So let's see, yeah. So here's the big question. Are there things we could do differently or stop doing? Okay. Important question. We acknowledge that changing is hard. There's nothing we do at Gettysburg that somebody doesn't care about, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. So sometimes it's hard to get out of the regular habits. But let's look at some examples of things we're looking at. Okay. One thing we've been talking about with some of our faculty is their computers on their desks are replaced every 4 years. Could we conserve resources by stretching out computer lives to 5 years? Seems like a reasonable thing, right? That could save us some significant money. All right. Increased use of cloud-based services is another thing we've talked about. So we moved all of your email to the cloud. I think it's working. I haven't gotten a lot of complaints in my email, so I presume it's working all right. And and that saves us some money. Could we think about moving some other things out to the cloud? Another example, could we think about collaborating with local partners and other colleges to reduce costs? Let me say a word about collaborating with other colleges. We have joined a consortium of 10 Pennsylvania colleges. Swarthmore, Bryn Mawr, Haverford, Muhlenberg, Juniata, Washington Jefferson, Dickinson, Franklin and Marshall, or Simons, and you've got the whole list. And we're talking together about whether or not there's some things that we can do together as a consortium more efficiently than we can each do as an individual college. Could we work out purchasing agreements? You know, if you're buying paper, if we all bought paper, 10 of us colleges together as opposed to individuals, could we have more efficient contracts with our suppliers, for instance? Can we share expertise? There's a couple colleges that are going together to share an expert in cybersecurity, for instance. So there's some interesting possibilities there. You know, historically, liberal arts colleges are sort of, you know, you're all in your own little area and you don't really collaborate much. So we're trying to break that model. Think about that a little bit. As we have these conversations, here are the 3 things that we're really focused on being sure guide us in our decision making. The first is absolutely we are focused on the quality of your experience. So as we go through conversations about resources and are they allocated well, it's essential that we are maximizing the quality of your experience. Obviously, that's why we're here. Right? Second thing is we want to be sure that we're maintaining support for the way we recruit students. We were just talking about why that's so important. We can't let up the pressure there. And of course, we want to keep raising money. Okay, that's important too. And we're going to capitalize on opportunities as they come along. So if someone's retiring, we'll look at that position. Do we want to reconfigure that position? Do we want to leave it as it is? Could we do things differently? Okay. All right. So those are our guiding principles as we make decisions. And so here finally up to the punchline, how you can help us out. Again, the 2 things we're looking at are being sure that we're recruiting an excellent student body, which we've had great success with so far. Look at all of you. And we know we will continue to. You as ambassadors for the value of a liberal arts education can play a huge role, and you as ambassadors for Gettysburg College can play a huge role. So when there are students visiting campus, and the willingness to talk with them, show off this place a little bit, that helps a lot. Or if you're in if you're home for a break, you know, and you're talking to a friend of yours that has a little brother or sister that's looking in colleges, talk about Gettysburg. Don't be shy about Gettysburg. Talk it up. It's a great place, right? So feel free. Be ambassadors. Be strong ambassadors of Gettysburg College. In terms of resources, we're going to ask you to think really carefully, just as we are doing with all of our budgets. I'm going to ask Senate with their budget and your organizations with your budgets to think carefully about your budgets. Okay? Think very carefully about the way you're using your resources. Can you think differently? Can you think more collaboratively? I know Julie Ramsey and Jeff Foster will will be willing to help you think through that process. That, by the way, is a great skill building process, I have to tell you. It really forces you to think about what's important and what really doesn't matter so much, and it sort of invites you to maybe think out the box a little bit. So you can help that way. And the other thing is, you're all out there. You see things that are going on. What are your ideas on reducing expenses? Are there things you see at Gettysburg College that you think, you know, we don't need that, or we could do less of that, or we could do this more efficiently? And I would love to hear your ideas about that. Now, I don't know how much time we have. I think that is my last slide, isn't it? Oh, yeah, okay, well, I don't know how much time we have for questions and discussion, so I'll look to Catherine for that. We can talk about some of this right now. I'm happy to answer questions. But I also have, the old-fashioned way, a sheet of paper I'm going to hand around where you can submit your ideas in response to these questions, okay? You can either write it out the old-fashioned way and hand it in to Catherine or one of your other officers who will deliver them, or you can take it home with you and put it in Campus Mail, or you can send me an email with your ideas. That's fine too. You can send it to Office of the President. The address is on the bottom of the sheet. So,
Yeah, I think we have 10, 15 minutes.
okay.
For questions.
So let me hear your thoughts, your questions, either on what I've said, if you have particular questions, happy to hear 'em, or if you have ideas on this process of sustainable excellence, sort of really looking at the way we allocate resources and ensure we're doing that in a way that's fiscally responsible and that best supports an excellent student education experience.
Are other colleges? Yeah. Are other colleges seeing the same, not problems, but,
Yeah. Yeah, the same pressures, yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's a liberal arts college in the country who's not having some of these same conversations. In fact, I was just in a meeting with several presidents the other day, and there's a lot of talk about this. And most of it is because of this changing environment. We're all in, so we're all in it together. So the demographics coming down a little bit in terms of the number of high school graduates, the whole context of people worrying about cost, value, debt. We're all in it together, and I guess that's assuring. Good question. Yeah.
I was thinking about how about like using solar power instead, because I know that it runs like a lot of electricity bill, and also it's a big draw for like students because I know that a lot of students looking to college is more affordable.
Yes. Yeah. That's excellent. In fact, that's something we've heard from the faculty as well. Are there things that we could do to adopt greener practices? And we're starting to do some of that. I think it's taken us a little while to get that going, but yes, it takes often a little bit of an investment up front, but then the payoff happens. So, good. Yes.
But so with tuition
Can I
increase.
ask you to say your name? I knew Kevin. That was pretty good. But you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Derek.
All right.
So with tuition obviously going up pretty steadily, $1,000 a year, I'm just kind of wondering what you guys' intuition behind the kind of increase in financial aid versus kind of maybe that affecting our academic and Gettysburg College experience overall by having to kind of, limit the number of expenses that we have on other things.
Well, as I said, the quality of your experience is of primary importance. So I don't see us doing anything that's going to jeopardize that. Really, I got to tell you, student-faculty ratio, for instance, is not going to move. Our commitment to financial aid is strong because we want to continue to attract the best students we can to Gettysburg College. We have certainly a commitment to the academic facilities. You've seen that over the last couple of years if you've been around. So you're not going to feel like, this is not like there's going to be a drop-off here. That's not it. This is stuff that's more around the edges. And I do think there are things, as I said, I think there are practices we have in place that we've done the same way, for 50 years. And we could probably do them a little differently and more efficiently. So, I don't know if did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, I was just kind of, I'm not concerned about the drop-off because
Yeah.
obviously you guys know doing what you guys have been working for. But yeah, no, it's just, is it in the numbers that if more financial aid increases the better quality of student and then therefore kind of the overall educational experience?
Yeah.
Those are kind of key problems.
Yeah, we think that's important.
I'm Nolan.
Nolan.
Another question that I'm having is if our increase in tuition is like proportional and correlated to our increase in financial aid, is that, I mean, I'm sure there's some marketing to that to say, oh, we give out, you know, X amount of financial aid a year, and if that's a small number, it's not as impressive as a big number. So is that the reasoning, or is there something else going on there?
This is a great question, and I always ask it too of our finance people. So, you know, you wonder at what point do tuition increases, does financial aid outpace the tuition increases in a sense, like, wouldn't it be better financially not to increase tuition, right? Sort of where you're going. So we do model that, and we have not hit that point, I will say. But it is something we look at very carefully. You wouldn't want to put yourself in a position, I suppose you could put yourself in a position where you were charging some exorbitant amount of money, but you were discounting everybody's tuition, which wouldn't make sense, right?
Yeah, well, it just seems like it's almost that, you know, you're inflating your own cost of tuition. And I guess, like, at what point do you say, okay, well, let's just not increase financial aid, but in turn, we'll not increase.
Yeah, we haven't hit that, we have not hit that point. We still see a net increase over time, every year, yeah. And by the way, I gotta tell you, we don't increase tuition just for the heck of it. I hate implementing tuition, and probably the letter that I dislike most to have to write is the letter that every year I have to write to your parents. It tells them what the next year's tuition is gonna be, because I know that it is a huge investment that you are all making here, and we don't take that lightly. Bottom line is, though, that we have costs that keep increasing that we do not have control over. Healthcare is an amazing one. You know, we're very dependent at a place like Gettysburg on the people. We are very people intensive, and so with that comes salary dollars. You have to increase people's salary to keep up with the cost of living. Medical premiums go up like crazy, and there are other costs, actually costs of technology. A lot of industries use technology to help them reduce costs. What we find at colleges and universities is the opposite. Everybody wants the best technology, and it ratchets up prices instead of helping to be more efficient. So those costs are what drive those tuition increases, not our desire to increase your tuition, believe me. Yeah.
I just wonder if you could talk a little bit about Plank and the Going Global Center with like development priorities on campus. So personally as a student, I feel more pressure in like dining areas and housing, but that could just be from my perspective as a student. So like how did we pick Plank, and where does that fall in our developmental priorities?
Yeah. It's a good question. We do have what we call a campus master plan that looks at sort of all of the buildings on campus and places for necessary renovation, deferred maintenance, possible additions, and that sort of thing. We have talked about the dining hall. I think some of you have suffered is probably too strong of a word, but experienced, how about that? A larger enrollment than we typically have had. We had a couple really big classes come in a row. I think it's this year's junior class. You all can tell me this is 770 something students. Okay, and we had a couple classes on either side of that were quite large as well. And that has put pressure, no question, on housing and dining. What we're seeing, we're bringing that. We're expecting to bring that back. In fact, next year enrollment will come down a little bit, and the next year after that, and we'll probably have it's about 150 fewer students on campus. I'm trying to remember the exact numbers.
No.
There's about 150 fewer students on campus in a year or two than we had at our peak. So some of these will sort of strains will take care of themselves. You asked about Plank. I'm not sure how many years ago it was. I think it was before I was president. There was a lot of conversation about buildings on campus and what needed attention. So we have this long list, I mean really long list, of what needs attention. The athletic center got done. When that got done, it took a little pressure off the use of Plank as a gym, although I know it still gets used for intramurals, and We've had tremendous crowding in our academic facilities just for faculty office space because we've increased the faculty over time so that the student-faculty ratio is better. But we didn't increase the academic facilities to support those faculty. So that's put pressure generally on academics. We also sometimes have to sort of take a left turn and respond to a particular need. So Gladfelder was literally, the insides of it were kind of falling apart. And so that had to move up the list so we could take care of that before things really got to like a crisis proportion in that building. So there's a bunch of, I get some nods from the Gladfelder inhabitants here. There are multiple priorities we look at when we consider big facilities projects. Long term, Plank is on the list. We have talked about trying to put an addition on this building. We can't afford it right now, just to be honest, but it's of interest to us. We have talked about additional residential facilities as well. So those are three that we have our eyes on. When we talk with our alumni about this campaign and sort of what rang their bell in terms of fundraising, this focus on a global center and the renovation of Plank was something that seemed to elicit some interest. Residence halls, not so much, unfortunately. So the need for additional academic space, our focus on things international, and the situation where that stuff is sort of just scattered all over campus, and some interest among our alumni in supporting that project have sort of come together to put it on this list. That, by the way, we can't do that renovation until we raise the money. We need to raise about $17 million, and we're about the $4 million mark right now. So we have a ways to go. This is not a building that's going to just spring out of the ground tomorrow. This is going to take some hard work and some big donors for us to get there. Yes.
Alana, so I was wondering about people who do science research in the summertime. So I know that there's like certain money that was granted to us by HHMI for research, but Gettysburg also puts forward some of the funds for the students who do research in the summer. And if you're partnering up with a couple of other schools, is there a way to make it so that some students get to do summer research on other campuses?
That's a really good idea.
I don't know if other schools offer the amount of research opportunities that Gettysburg offers, especially, I mean, I'm a
I think it
physics major,
varies
so-
among those.
Yeah,
schools.
but if there's other schools who offer opportunities for their students and we're partnering with them, I don't see why, if they have more space or the facilities to do so, why they couldn't take some students.
I think that's an excellent idea. I think there's a great opportunity for exchange there. That is not something that's been discussed yet. So thank you. I will take that back. This consortium just formed, I guess officially we came together last year. We just hired a director in December. I mean, so we're brand new. So this is great. Yeah, good idea. All right. Did I wear you out? So, should I just leave these up here?
Yeah, we can, pass these out so if you're looking for them,
Okay.
helps we still have budget requests, so we'll hand that out.
All right, so just to wrap up very quickly here. First of all, thanks for putting up with me. I know I should have longer on here, but I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. And I'm serious, I really want you to think about these things. Think about the way you can be ambassadors for Gettysburg. Okay? Number one. Number two, look around you at the way we spend money. And if there are things that you see that you think, what if we tried this, or what if we tried that? Let me know. If you think about it soon, send it in with this, but if you think about it in 6 months, we'll still be thinking about this. Gettysburg is a strong, healthy place. We are in such fabulous shape. This is one of the things that feels really good to me when I talk to the other members of this consortium, is that there's quite a range of institutions in that consortium, and whenever I come back from a meeting, I feel really good about where we wanna keep what we have. We wanna always continue to strive to be better and better. It's all about you all and how we can support your experience. So that's what it's all about. When we say sustainable excellence, we're trying to sustain the excellence of the Gettysburg experience. So I'm always happy to come back to Senate anytime, and you know, I have office hours occasionally, and last time they didn't get filled up. So keep your eye open if any of you want to come in just to shoot the breeze sometime when I have office hours. Feel free. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
So now we're gonna move on to the mock trial budget request.
Before we start, there's some senators who have been abroad and just came back, and I want to refresh you on a few things. Mock trial, the representative will present her budget to you, and then she'll explain everything about it, and we'll open the floor for all of you to ask questions about it and everything. The reason we're doing this tonight is because actually the entire budget request is for a conference that is happening this weekend, so we need to make this kind of a speedy thing. And then the rest of the preliminary budgets will come through in the next couple of weeks. So, Samantha?
Thank you very much. I just have to correct one bit of your information. Our conference is not this weekend, but next weekend.
Oh,
So we have a little bit of time. I'd like to thank the Senate for allowing me to come forward and request this money. Mock trial has meant a lot to me throughout my 3 years and now my 4th year here at Gettysburg College. So as we've just heard the importance of conserving money, I'm going to ask you for more money. Okay. Gettysburg Mock Trial is part of the American Mock Trial Association. Mock trial, we come together and reenact the American justice system, the most excellent justice system in the world. The team is built up of 2 groups of students who enact parts of attorneys, who learn the legislative process, who learn how to argue trial law, essentially, and a group of students who portray witness parts. This provides students with an opportunity for performance outside of the theater. So it's really important students learn skills in public speaking, logic. This club has been really formative in my Gettysburg experience, and it means a lot to me that it continues. It means a lot to me that the membership has increased about 150% this year. So I'm really looking forward to this tournament next weekend in Philadelphia. As far as my budget goes, all tournament supplies will come from our base budget. Students are required to provide their own money for appropriate clothing, meaning suits. We've recommended that students approach the Center for Career Development and rent suits from there. They're responsible for all their own meals. The money we are requesting is going to go to accommodations and travel. The hotel we are looking at making reservations for is literally a block away from our venue. Per night, it is $119 plus associated fees and taxes per room. We will need 4 rooms for 16 students. The total cost will be $1,099.56. We are also looking at renting a minibus from Transportation Services. Our original plan was to have students drive to Philadelphia. However, we realized that between the students who do have cars on campus, we were short about 3 seats, and we're not able to transport all the team members to Philadelphia where we need to be next weekend. As none of us are qualified to drive a minibus, we will need to hire a college driver. So we are assuming with total transportation time, both to and from Philadelphia for 2 trips, about 12 hours of driving time. So we are asking for $270 for the bus, and then $156 for the driver. Total, we are asking for $1,525.56. Last semester, the law department had given us $500 to pay the school fee for the American Mock Trial Association so that Gettysburg could continue to be part of the association. As such, the law department does not have any more funds to offer us, which is why we are asking this amount from this body. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Is there a fee to go to this event?
The fees for the tournament were paid last semester with our team registration fees.
Okay, so the students paid for the fee. Or
The
just both?
Senate paid those fees. They
Okay.
were part of our budget last semester.
Okay.
Have you done research on the different venues? Is that the cheapest hotel accommodation
This is actually a discounted rate we are getting because AMTA had reserved a series of rooms at 3 different hotels, and this was the best priced hotel of the 3.
Any other questions?
I'm looking the budgets for the Gettysburg College in Chicago.
For the full amount.
Yes.
Wait, can we get the BMC recommendation?
Yeah, we recommended the full amount.
So we have a motion to allot the full amount to the mock trial. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations. Okay, so we're gonna move quickly on to committee reports. Oh, academic affairs.
Big Mark's here. Go
Okay, budget.
Like I said, we have a meeting tomorrow on Wednesday. I only know of one committee member who has gotten back to me to attend, so if the rest of you could say whether or not. It would be nice because we have 10 clubs coming each night, so 20 clubs we need to get through in the next 2 days. So let me know about that, and then the budget meetings will be the same time, same place as last semester.
Thank you. College life.
We're going to be meeting with Jane Arnold from she's the Chief Diversity Officer, and that will be next Monday. So we'll have a call with them.
And email Laura if you have any suggestions or things you want us to bring up with her.
Thank you. And we have IT.
No report.
PR.
No report.
Student safety.
Sorry guys, I do have a report. 2 big things coming up this semester is one is Total Safety Move is coming up in February or March. Last year, Student Center for the first time had a booth. DPS loved it. I'd like to do that again. Last year we did cybersecurity, so we can do that again. If anybody has a different thing that they'd like to tackle, please email me. We'd be happy to change that up. The other thing that I really need help with ideas for is we did food last year during Spring Fest from 8 to 9. We gave out soft pretzels for freshmen who weren't there. We gave out a pretzel. It was like a pretzel where you had 5 seconds for an hour straight. So it was a huge success. We did it free of charge. DPS loved it. It was really kind of promoting. We just gave out water and something to soak up alcohol. So it was like a real actual safety thing, and everybody loved it. So we need more ideas for food to do that. And eventually I'll be coming to the Senate for funding. In terms of crimes reported for the last week, we had 3 assaults, 2 drug abuses, we had 5 burglaries, which you guys got emails for. If you have any information, please contact DPS. 3 unlawful entries, 1 larceny, 1 fire, 1 disorderly conduct, and 8 liquor laws. And also be careful of the ice out there because the temperature's dropping tonight. So.
Thank you very much, Terry. And Senate policy.
No report.
All right. And for special events, I'll be in contact about the spring retreat and sustainability.
I do have something. It's Recyclemania, starting February 3rd to March 30th. Basically, all you have to do is recycle more and throw out less. It's really easy. We're competing against about 400 other schools, I want to say, across the nation to see who can recycle the most. So represent Gettysburg and keep recycling. Basically, you can recycle everything, so it's really not a big deal. Unwashed stuff, put it in there. It's really simple. So that's one thing. The other thing is the car share program is definitely going to be moving forward. We're hoping to have a decision made on which company we're going for within the next few months, and after that, it should be in place by next year sometime.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, now club announcements. Yeah, Morgan.
Hi guys, my name is Morgan Patullo and I'm a leadership mentor at the Garth Wheat Leadership Center, and I'm just here to talk about a couple events that we have coming up that you might want to either do yourselves or share with your club members. So our first event that's coming up on February 7th is the Emerging Leaders Retreat, which is a 1-day leadership retreat. It goes from about 8:30 till 4 p.m. and it's a really great opportunity for you or your club members to learn a little bit more about leadership and how you can implement that in your everyday lives. And we have 2 really great speakers. We have Dave Wright speaking about the general concept of leadership, and Neil Bryant, who's an alumni, to speak about self-awareness. And then you kind of get to break down into smaller groups and pick more things that you specifically want to work on, such as collaboration or engaging difference. And then another opportunity we have coming up is leadership mentor recruitment, which is what I am, and you're basically you're the students who run the programs of the GLC, and it's a really great opportunity. You can find more information on our website at www.gettysburgglc.org. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Morgan.
The class of 2016 is selling our class blankets this whole week in the Cub from 11 to 1. We're also selling sunglasses and t-shirts and class bumper stickers. But the t-shirts and the sunglasses are not class specific, so come by and buy them and support our class. So thanks.
Thank you.
And for the class of 2015, the same thing goes minus the t-shirts and sunglasses and bumper stickers. So
Just the blankets.
Just the blankets. And we will have them in the Cub from 11 to 1. And if you know anyone who already purchased their blanket, they can come and pick them up in the lobby as well. So spread the word about that.
Cab events for this weekend. Thursday we have trivia at the Attic. It starts at 8 o'clock. You can win bookstore or dining gift cards. Friday is the activities fair in the ballroom. That starts at 4 o'clock. If you really want to, your club can probably still sign up, but that kind of has ended already. But if you really want to, I'm sure you can email. We're also having bongo ball